Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video, but I've been watching LPL, especially IG versus Suning, and I noticed a very interesting trend that is worthy of discussion, so here it goes. The premise of this is that it's going to be revolving around Herald macro, specifically the first one, where there has been a weird occurrence that I've been identifying relatively recently, and I just want to share it. So the first ID and the first occasion that starts this entire event is that with the lane counter matchup, Lucas has a very hard time surviving this lane. As a result, he's forced to reset early. This is something that is typically responded onto the winning side of Suning, where they're able to shove into the top side of the map, and then they're able to establish control by getting the first stretch reset off both together while Ezreal's there, and then they're able to get technically the quote unquote the first move, and they're going to be support is going to be going down mid and then linking up with the mid laner and the jungler to control the top side of the map. And this is a very traditional play that has been actively played for the last 3 years. However, one of the curious things that that people started identifying is that even in these situations, even when one of the bot laners, specifically the support, straight up dies from a trade, it is much faster for that to happen, and then they're actually the one who's able to get the first move. It's worth noting, especially in games like these, where they are, like Leon is able to get the first move off even before Thresh even gets off base. So what specifically happens when Leona is actually going to the top side of the map right now? Let's look at the map state. So Bin, despite being like this, is actually is not necessarily in the best position because Zoe just got to the wave and she's going to be able to shove it back. Kindred has just finished starting red. As a result, she's going to be able to link up with Zoe and then put pressure onto the top side of the map, which will be immediately responded by Nenny being able to TP back with his itemization. And then they're going to have 3 lanes worth of prio along with a Leona move 10 seconds before the Herald spawns. Now, all this will entail that even if Thresh is actually able to deploy to the top side right now, it will already be too late and it will be a very difficult objective to contest. As a byproduct, what Suning decides to do is rather unique. And this is a beginning of a very good plan that they doesn't necessarily fully execute. Maybe they're not aware of it themselves. First is that they're able to get shallow wards of all potential entrances into Herald. As a result, they are immediately able to identify when IG wants to invest members into taking the objective. And then, what immediately proceeds is that they are able to converge to the mid lane with On being able to deploy and then also meeting up with Nocturne. And they're going to be able to contest this mid wave and immediately cancel the prio that Zoe was able to create with the Lost Chapter advantage. Meanwhile, On is getting the proper vision control that is needed for the potential cross-map play that is about to proceed. And if they weren't checking into the fog right now and wasting one of their wave timers to prevent the inevitable, then this is exactly what will happen. After shoving in mid-wave, they're going to be able to go to the boss side of the map and again this entire control, and it makes this completely dark. And now, Ezreal gets to deal with a significantly difficult dilemma. And this is worth noting that still to right now, until this very moment, they don't even need to know where Wink is in order to execute this play. He could very well be going to the boss side of the map and the play is regardless the same. Because if he is mid lane right now and they're going to the boss side, then he's not going to be able to traverse through this fog. Even this could potentially be dangerous. As a result, he either has to go all the way around like this and enter that way, or reset and then go that way. But even if he enters like that, since he doesn't know where exactly they're hiding, he could get dove here, he could get flanked here. As a result, this place becomes a no man's zone for Ezreal to ever traverse. And the reason why this is very dangerous and the mistake of Suning spending one turn to contest the side that they are not able to contest is because of IG's ability to make this counterplay where they're able to group up mid in a 3v3 format and then also get this push. And the reason why this is impossible in majority of the cases is because if they're already able to do this, then even with the fact that Kindred is now currently unavailable and Suning being fully aware of it, even if they get the mid push, it's very difficult for them to flush out this control that they already have because of this presence of Nocturne and Thresh being in a fog of war. and even Leona face checking could potentially lead to catastrophic results. Now, during this entire time, Jinx is farming. And this is the best part about the Sunni's macro. Despite them losing Herald and potentially losing 2 plates worth of gold, it's worth noting that both Bin and Angel's Waves plates are both at 5 HP, 5 plates. As a result, they're nowhere in danger of being immediately taken down. Now Bin's HP have been reduced to 4. And as a result, First Blood Turret is nowhere in danger. Meanwhile, there's only barely 1 plate left alive on the side of Sunni, while Huan Fang has a whole level lead currently, with Ezreal only being at level 6. And all this is worthwhile, not only because these late champions are not necessarily as important as the AD carry getting the first mythic, which has been the main core of this build ever since the beginning of Season 11. Now I'd like to explain this play in a little bit more of like a graphic format. And this is when I try to use game theory in order to make things a bit more sense. And to people though who don't understand game theory, it's not very difficult. It's more around the lines of picking the 2 decisions that are going to be made, picking whoever has the first move or gets to be player 1, and then seeing the sequential plays that are proceeding afterwards and seeing who comes out on top, if any. And this is worth noting that this is no game of magnitude or specific gold, but it is a overall estimation of the potential benefits up to both plays. And if there are benefits and the benefits are mutual in nature, then both of them are considered to be wins. With that out of the way, let's do the stop process. IG always gets the first move because of the thing that we talked about, where Lucas is actually unironically the one who gets to get out of the path first. So let's imagine a situation where Leona is immediately going to Herald off of the lead that they get. If Suning immediately responds by going to Herald because of the misconception of the fact that they were able to get the bot shove, as a result they're getting first move, which is not correct at all, then the first player, which is in this situation, it is IG, gets to win because they're able to get the topside control, and Thresh's roam becomes irrelevant. As a result, Suning loses because of the misdeployment of the man advantage, while IG getting the proper investment is the one who gets to get Herald, while the cross-map play is not necessarily established. Now, if IG runs to Herald, and then Suning goes to bot, and it properly executes the play, then despite IG getting to Herald, then they are potentially at a loss net gold-wise, because Jinx is the one who's getting this much gold, it being the most important champion in the game forward on the side of Suning, while the as important side on the side of IG, Wayne gets to get starved out. As a result, this is not a very happy trade for IG and is a net negative, so we consider that a loss, while Suning is happy because their win condition hasn't been fulfilled. So on the other end, if IG immediately goes to the bot side and Suning uses the advantage to go to the top side, then this is a similar situation where, since the wave is bouncing back towards the IG side, there could even potentially be threats of a dive. However, Jinx is also able to catch the wave and then is able to pick up all that CS using her rocket. As a result, she's going to be able to thin the wave at a relative distance, as long as they're relatively careful. On the other hand, since IG is able to get the Herald and they're going to be immediately able to reset to the bot side by shifting the pressure downward, they're going to be able to eliminate the dive threat at the same time. So there are both wins to these cases. As a result, this is most likely the one that they're going to be able to mutually be happy with. On the other hand, if Suning and IG supports go both to the bot side of the map, then since even though the wave is bouncing back, Jinx and Leona are going to be able Jinx and Thresh are going to be able to shove the wave back in and then go to the top side of the map and control Herald. Or if they cede control and bait Leona go to the top side of the map, and then they're able to immediately reinstate it back and they do the lockout play again. And both options are both favorable for Suning. As a result, they're the one who wins. And this is when we identify something called a Nash equilibria, or something that is mutually successful, or something that is most likely for them to opt for. Unfortunately, it does not exist because in both cases for IG, either is a loss or a win, or a loss or a win. Both plays have its disadvantages and advantages, and it is not for certain that IG will pick either one. However, on the side of Suning, if you look at their sides, despite going to Herald has a 50% chance of being a deficit, while on the other hand, if they go bot, then they're bound to get an advantageous side every time. As a result, despite the Nasser equilibrium not existing in this situation, Sunni should be going to the bot side anyway because there's a higher chance that this is going to give them a larger advantage. And this is a type of thought process that should be used in order to evaluate macro decisions. And it's just a useful tool to have so you could visualize the situation while also having the map to your side and then seeing the potential consequences. Thank you for listening, and I hope that was helpful.